it's important before you enter into any field of action, especially in the political realm, that you understand the nature of the game and who the players are and what the consequences can be and what's actually going on. What are the real forces that you may be contending with? Because most people don't understand. I think there are very few people right now who know who is really running the world. Until you know that, you will not be able to act effectively in the world. And you're not going to find the answers to that on the internet, and you're not going to find it in sociology books or political science books, because those people don't know, quite frankly. There's this term that's now very popular of the deep state, but very few people know just how deep it really is. Okay, so this is something that's of extreme importance if you enter into these fields in a public way, because you're in the big leagues, and it's a lot bigger than you might imagine. And if you really want to be effective in changing the world, you need to understand the logic of worlds and how it is run, and what are those forces and their intentions, and what leverage do you really have. And this is why having spiritual wisdom can be of an extreme help. And if you act naively, even though your heart is in the right place, you may not actually accomplish much help, and you may end up getting hurt. So you want to be very careful. In the same way that if someone came to me and said they had a headache, and I have no medical or psychological training, and say, okay, let me do some brain surgery on you, that might not be helpful. My heart might be in the right place to help them, but they might be a lot worse off after my sawing their cranium than they were before. So you have to act with accuracy and understanding. You know, Ramana lived at a time when India was fighting for its independence from Britain. And he had nothing to do with that and no interest in it. And it was very clear to him that the people of India would not be any better off after independence than they were beforehand. It was just the faces of the oppressors would change, but the oppression would not. And of course, I don't think too many people would argue about that now. But 100 kilometers to the south of Ramana was another teacher who was an Indian nationalist freedom fighter who was put in prison for a year. He escaped, and then he started more political activity. And someone came to him and said, okay, they have decided they're going to terminate you. And he escaped just in time and got down to Pondicherry, which was a French colony, so outside of the writ of the British. And he established himself there, changed his name to Sri Aurobindo. We have his picture up here. And he became a spiritual teacher and gave up the political intentions. And he also recognized that he could be much more effective in that context in helping the world to rise to a higher state and creating a community that would be a model of peace and harmony in the world, rather than to try to bring it to a world that was not interested. And on the other hand, you have Mahatma Gandhi, who was very saintly and did stay in the fight, non-violently, of course. And although they won independence, he was assassinated by a Hindu nationalist who thought he was too friendly to the Muslims. So you can do all of this work, but if you haven't raised the consciousness of the general population, you may find out that, as the Russian Revolution proved, that you may kill the Tsar, but Stalin is going to replace him, and you may not be any better off in that situation. So until you understand not only human psychology and how it must be raised to make real change, not simply superficial change in the the names of the people who are running the bureaucracy that is oppressing the situation, but the real deep forces that are involved, both psychologically as well as externally. When you have that understanding, that wisdom, and the connection to the only real power that can help to change things in this matrix of Maya, then you will be able to be very effective in what you want to do out of love. But I would say the more wisdom you have, the more accurate knowledge you have, the more you will be able to act effectively and to bring about change that is lasting and not just simply temporary. Okay.